We pump those profits back into the profit cycle to generate even more profits. And I know what you're going to say. Profits? Yes, Stan. You're soaking in them.
Hey everybody, how's it going? It's your boy ExtrmWill with Extreme Tech. I'm going to take another look at salad real quick here and see what it's doing. I was hoping we were going to get a look at this here in the up, but it looks like we're going to get a look at it here kind of down lower in the bottom. Yesterday at like 1 a.m. I went to bed because I'm old and I drank too much watching the Bucks game. But at like 1 a.m. it looked like I actually had about an hour where it was making about 60 cents every 15 minutes. So that would have been the nicest spot to get it in. Right now it looks like it is holding real solid at this 49.4 cents. It is just holding real solid at that 49 cents, which is pretty good because this says last 48 hours I'd have made $48, almost 49. And if we look at this, it says yesterday I actually made $49 and a quarter, and the day before I made $47. For that were 43, 40. So it's been going pretty solid here since about here. It's about the 20th or 21st of last month. And it's just slowly getting better and getting better and getting better. This is kind of what I want to see. More jobs, some more reliable, consistent jobs. Not as much looking for stuff. So I think right now I just got machine 28 up and running. And I saw machine 28 already has a job. So we are definitely cooking. It's a Salad AI Rentals. I think for the most part everybody watching should know. I probably should do a little intro on it when we get into one of these here. So I have two 20-core machines, one 16-core machine, a whole bunch of 12 cores. I believe it's 13 12 cores. These are all Xeon server motherboard stuff, all on the X99 motherboard. And then we get into the PCs. I have 4 8-core, I believe 5 6-core, and 3 4-core. PCs. So let's get into this. First 20-core, 96 gigabytes of RAM, RTX 4090 is doing $4.48. So I know this is one people were asking about. It was on a container for $2.58 for about 2 weeks. And I decided to cancel the job and update the machine and try to see if it could get on something better. It did. It took it like 2 days probably to get on something better. I think it did overall hurt my reliability, but I think when you have this many machines up, like I don't, how much better is my reliability really going to get if I haven't touched anything in like 2 weeks? So with this much constantly up and running, my reliability score's pretty nice. This one's currently not running. This is a 20-core, 96 gigabytes, 20-core CPU, 96 gigabytes, RTX 4070 Ti. Not currently doing anything. This one can do like $5. Has a hard time getting a solid container. I don't know if like they rank this one higher than it is because it's on such a huge processor chip, because it is a 20-core processor, so it has 40 threads and 96 gigabytes of memory. I don't know if they're like, let's just hold this one out from getting a job to see if maybe they can get a better job. It just doesn't get anything. It goes back and forth with work. This is definitely one of those ones where when it's spiking, I know like this is one of the machines that probably has a job. It probably has a $5 job when I'm spiking and making more money. And right now, while it's not spiking and making more money, it's just whatever is in the real big container jobs. It's just running constant. So here then we are into my first 3090. This is the AMD Threadripper 16-core, 64 gigabytes of memory, RTX 3090, doing $1.70. I think these are all just generic 30 series jobs that it's running. I think it's just the generic 30 series. It says it wants probably 2 cores and 8 gigabytes of memory. And then you get this, $1.70 to $1.88, whatever it winds up being. And yeah, I think that's what all 5 of my 3090s are running. I had thought about slowly updating these and then trying to see if they could get on to a better job, because the 3090s can make $5, but I just don't know if nobody is renting the 3090s anymore because there's so many of them on the system and there's just so few of those nice $5 jobs and containers left for them that they're just stuck running these generic jobs. So it is what it is, but I was tempted to force shut them down and bring them back up, but I don't think I'm going to, because I have one later on. We will see. I think it might be, I don't know if it's machine 8 or machine 99. I don't remember which one it is, but one of them with the 3090s, you can tell it's up to date on the newest version, and it's still doing a $1.70 job. So it doesn't make me want to do that. So this is my second 4090. This is the start of the 12 cores, the BCPC 12 cores. So the first 7 of these I bought from Brandon Coyne from his shop, BCPC, or BC/PC shop.com. So I bought the first 7 from him, and then I started making my own. But they're really nice. Definitely highly recommend them. It's a good place to get started. He sells them pretty cheap too. I think they're like, I want to say they were like $220 for the 12 cores, 64 gigabytes, and you get the fan, the CPU, the motherboard, and the memory. So, and all you need is the GPU, the power supply, and M.2. I think that's all you need then. So they're not too bad. It's definitely pretty nice. Makes everything go pretty easy. So I got 7 of them from him. So this is the first of those. So we are on, 12 core, 96 gigabytes, RTX 4090, doing $4.48. This one also was doing like $2.58, I think, in a large container. I decided to shut it down and update it to see if it could get a better job, and it did. It's doing $4.48 now, so it's making almost $2 a day more now than it was before, so it's a good idea. I'm assuming this $4.48 job, I think this is a generic 40 series job. It probably wants a 40 series card and more than 40 gigabytes of memory, I think is what this job is. I think these can do between like $4.50 and $5. And it does. I don't think it matters what card you're on at all at that point. And then I think it can go up and down a little bit depending on how big they want the CPU, how much cores they're willing to pay for the CPU. So, yeah, not too bad. It was definitely a good idea to shut them both down and restart them. I was a little worried about it because I don't want to do anything that's going to hurt my reliability, but looks like it worked. So here, another 12 core, 96 gigabytes, RTX 4090. So this is my last 4090. This one's doing $4.98. That's a little bit better. Normally this one says it's doing better than this. Normally it's been saying it's doing like 5.5. So this could be one too. It could be getting slowed down because I'm doing the Windows, and not the Windows, the Chrome remote desktop into it. Sometimes that takes some of the resources and kind of hurts it a bit. Alright, let's get to this next one. Another 12 core, 96 gigabytes, RTX 4070. Looks like it's doing $4.11. A little bit underachieving. That might be paying for the specific card, not just the generic 40 series. Not fully sure. A lot of this too is kind of like speculation on what the trends are you think the customers are ordering or how you think they're ordering. It's kind of what I'm seeing. Because it looks like a lot of customers tend to kind of order like the same way. You order either everything really cheap or everything really expensive. Maybe some kind of a mixture of the two. So if we get to this next one, another 12 core, 96 gigabytes, RTX 4060 Ti. It's doing $4.59. You can kind of tell which version these are all on too by this thing that's up here. So if this is up and this says this is 1.6.4, it wants to update to, so this is on 1.6.3. If this isn't up here at all, then it's going to be on 1.6.4. Or if this says 1.6.3, which a bunch of these still do, then that means it's still running version 1.6.2. I have a bunch of machines still on 1.6.2 because I don't see a point to update them. If you update them, then I've got to hope that they can get containers again. And if it takes 2 weeks to get a really good long container, then there's no point in doing an update every week. So this next one, the 12 core, 64 gigabytes, RTX 3090, doing $1.68. As I said, they're pretty much all doing about $1.70. So yeah, here's the 3090 already that's updated on the new one. It's a 12 core, 64 gigabytes, RTX 3090, doing $1.68. So this is on the 1.6.4. This is the whole reason I'm not going to forcibly update all my 3090s, because this one, the container it was on, it actually ended. So then I updated it, and it still picked up a virtually identical container to the one that it was previously running. Let's go to the next one, the 12 core, 96 gigabytes, 4070 Ti. This one's doing $4.40. That's pretty good. These all can do, you know, like that $4.50 to $5. Pretty common. The 12 core, 96 gigabytes of memory, RTX 3090. This one's doing $1.68. I don't have anything wrong with just saying they're all the 3090s are all at about $1.70. So we'll get some of them that'll be a little bit higher. This is 12 core, 64 gigabytes, RTX 3080. This is a 10 gigabyte card. It's not doing anything right now. It was doing a 10-cent job when I logged on to it earlier. Normally these 3080s do really, really good. Hopefully this one starts picking up a job again soon. Otherwise, I'm going to have to trade it in for another 4060 Ti. I don't really want to do that. My 3080s were some of my most solid running cards, but if it's not going to run anything, it's going to make it real tempting, because I think I paid like $100 or maybe $150 for the one when I traded it in to get the better card. So we'll get to those two pretty soon here too. Alright, so another 12 core, 96 gigabytes of memory, RTX 3090. This is still, yeah, this is one's on 1.6.2. So this one's doing $1.68. And here we get to one of the 4060 Ti's I just traded in for. This one I traded in the my third RTX 3080 10 gigabyte card for. So this one again on the 12 core, 64 gigabytes, RTX 4060 Ti. It's just calculating. Boo. I don't know why I haven't got a big container on this one yet. I guess it's still a newer machine. This machine's probably only been up for a little bit. Yeah, but it's definitely doing me good. Like during the hours where it looks like everything is pumping, this one's probably doing a $5 job. I believe this one was on the job. Yes. So another 12 core, 64 gigabytes, RTX 4060 Ti, 16 gigabyte card. It's doing $4.11. This one I was going to try to trade in my 3070 Ti, and I decided to not trade it in. I decided to just keep my 3070 Ti, so I may need to go to the Newegg and just click a button and tell them to just cancel that trade in, because I'm just not going to do it. I think I may have 2 more days I can still decide on that. But yeah, it's done a job. $4.11. Definitely like the 4060 Ti's. They seem to be pretty nice. Alright, the brand new one. This one, I started putting this machine together about 2 hours ago, and it just finished fully updating Windows. It's out in the garage already. I was pretty shocked. Yeah, within a couple of minutes of getting it all set up and running, it's already on a job. So this is my last 12 core, 64 gigabytes of memory, RTX 3060, doing $1.68. It's definitely really nice, fast turnaround there. Was not expecting this one to get a job for a couple of days. Alright, so let's close all these down. With the remote, the Chrome remote desktop, I can only have 20 open at a time, and it doesn't like me trying to have all 20 open. So we'll see if I open all of these real slow then, if then I can open that second half up. So we are beginning with the 8-core PCs. And then I'm going to try to open all of the 6-core PCs. It looks like it's working. Because I am well over 20 by now. It needs like enough time to dump the memory from the previous set to allow you then to bring up the next set. It's something weird. But it gets really annoying. When I first tried bringing this all up earlier, I was going to film this video first before I set that other machine up. And then it's just like it would only let me have like 8 open at a time because I had opened too many. I was getting really annoyed. So, alright. So now we are in 8-core machines. So we're on an i7, 8-core, 32 gigabytes of memory, RTX 3060 Ti. This one's doing $1.78. That's pretty good for that card. Card getting any work is pretty nice. My 3060s, alright, nice. This one's working too. So I think I should have at least 2 3060s running right now, which is pretty good. 3060s having a real hard time getting jobs for them. This one looks like this one's nice too. So i7, 8-core, 64 gigabytes of RAM, RTX 3060, 12 gigabyte card. It's doing $2.20. So I'm getting paid because this job, they said they wanted more than 40 gigabytes of RAM, even though they're not using all that RAM right now. They're still paying for it. You can see that's why it's the extra above that $1.90. So I'm getting like an extra 30 cents per day probably on this job because they paid for the more memory. So it's something to take into account. You can make a little bit more with the more memory. On the 30 series cards, it's only a little bit. On the 40 series cards, I think it makes a much larger difference on those to be above the 40 gigabytes of memory. Because then I think not only does it allow you more jobs that you can pick up, because you can pick up the smaller jobs and the bigger jobs, but I think it increases the odds too that you're going to get those bigger jobs with the 40 series cards. So yeah, I definitely recommend for the 40 series cards above 40. For the 30 series cards, I don't know if it's that big of a deal if you're really above 32. I mean, if this was only doing $1.90 right now, it wouldn't be the end of the world to me, I don't think. So, I mean, it's definitely, for 30 cents, it's definitely not as noticeable to get that extra 32 gigabytes of memory. I don't know if it's cost effective, really worth it. I got a bunch of memory real cheap off Facebook Marketplace, so if you can do that and keep doing that and keep finding stuff real cheap, then, like, as long as you can find it cheap, you know, keep on upgrading it. This next one here, we are on a i7. I think we're still on the 8 cores, 64 gigabytes of memory, RTX 3070, $1.78. So that's pretty nice. This one's still on version 1.6.2. So I think 3070s, they still work on here. They get work. This 3070 is updated. Oh, no work for this one. Ryzen 7, 64 gigabytes of memory. It's 8 cores, RTX 3070. Not working. This one must have just recently finished. Because I thought when I made the video for my 3070s, I had 3 of them. 3 of my 4 were working. Right now, I think I might only have the 2 3070s in there. 1, 2. No, I have 3 3070s in there, and I have 2 3070s sitting. Because I have 5 of them total. So I think I have 3 total in machines. So let's go to this next one here. We're on an i5, 6 core. So this is the beginning of my 6 core machines. 32 gigabytes of memory. RTX 3060 Ti. Doing $1.78. Yeah, it's definitely pretty nice. Alright, on to this next one here. i5, 6 cores. This one's weird. 6 cores and 6 threads. I don't really fully understand it, but whatever. It's got 64 gigabytes of memory, RTX 3060, doing $1.56. Most of my 3060s might be running right now then. Wonder if all of my 3060s are running now. Let's see, we got one of them left. Alright. Ryzen 5, 3600, 6 core, 64 gigabytes of memory, RTX 3070 Ti. Just calculating. This is how cards get traded in, man. This is how they get traded in, not wanting to run work. This is how I set up to try to trade them in and then not trading them in. Alright, so this one we have a Intel i5, 6 core, 64 gigabytes of memory, RTX 3070 Ti. It's like 10 cents. I think this is technically going to be my next PC I do. Something's wrong with the power supply on this one, and something's wrong with the times 16 PCI slot. So I think I'm just going to pull this one out of the house, stick this one in the garage. But I think I'm going to pull the hard drives out of this. I think I'm going to put the hard drives from that in this. And I'm thinking I'm going to get like a 12-core AMD processor chip for it, or an 8-core AMD processor chip. We'll see how much money I have when I get paid this weekend, and how much money Salad made, how much money I can spend on toys. But I think I'm going to rebuild this PC because this is the only PC that's in the house that's not in the garage. So I think I'm going to essentially just pull this one out and throw it out in the garage and then just put a new PC in this one slot. I think I'm going to keep the hard drives for this are going to stay probably in this one upstairs. Maybe we'll see. We'll figure it all out. Alright, so this next one here, we're on a Ryzen 5 3600. Oh yeah, it's 4 a.m. here. 64 gigabytes of RAM, RTX 3060 Ti, doing $1.78. Nice. Let's look here at this next one. This last 3060 isn't running. So this is a i7 4-core. It's a 10-year-old processor. It's running 16 gigabytes of DDR3, RTX 3060. Not currently running. This machine's 10 years old. It tends to do about $1.88 pretty regularly. Probably, I would say like 2 to 3 days a week it'll do it. But I'm just not getting anything out of it right now. I mean, it's one of the only machines I have right now that doesn't have a container, so I don't really have anything I really can complain about. I do feel the happiest when that one's running, though, because that one just, to me, seems like it shouldn't be doing anything. But it does. It's made pretty decent money on this so far, so. Alright, so this next one here, we're in the 4 cores. It's i3 4-core, 64 gigabytes of memory, RTX 3070, doing $1.78. So once again, 3070's not doing too bad. My 3060 Ti's right now are all crushing it right now too. I was pretty surprised with that. The 3060 Ti's haven't been picking up much anything lately, but so it's nice to see them working. And then here we have the most reliable machine that I have, and it's still being reliable. Of course it is. So it's i3 4-core, 32 gigabytes of memory, RTX 3080, 10 gigabyte card, doing $1.78. So as you can see right now, everything's crushing it. Oh, I thought that day was already done. I thought that it already said that day was done and moved on to the next day. Yeah, because I did 48 yesterday. So I'll do 48 probably today. I don't know what kind of weird time zone they're in. Got 24 hours. Oh yeah, you can see here it just stepped up a little bit. You can see from the that new machine coming online, taking it over 50 cents. So yeah, definitely when everything spikes, and like I'd imagine too, it's kind of got to do with whatever time everyone is like working during. Which seems weird because that last spike went from Well, it was at its highest, I think, at like 1 or 2 in the morning, but yeah, I don't know. I would imagine this would line up somewhat with normal business hours, but not necessarily. People are working all over the world trying to do stuff, so. But yeah, it's definitely cooking real hard. Got to be happy seeing like $48 for one day. I had serious doubts if that would ever happen. I had serious doubts if I was ever going to break like that $40 mark per day. I mean, it felt like for a long time, like I was just stuck at like $20 a day no matter what I did. You know, when I had 4 machines, I was doing $20 a day, and then I had 8 machines, I was doing $20 a day, and then I had 12 machines, I was doing $20 a day, 25 machines, and I was doing $20 a day. So it's definitely nice to see, you know, the investment look like it's starting to really pay off. Hopefully this can keep going. Keep continuing. Oh, man. That's why I wanted to film this video before I got that other thing up and running. I got a little bit left here before it's bedtime, but yeah, if there's other things you guys want to see, post comments down below. Anybody who's noticed, I'm pretty good about responding pretty quickly. Post them normally as soon as I get around to it, I'll comment back. So, but yeah, if you want to see other videos, hit the like button, subscribe, come on back. You got any random questions? I'm pretty good at answering them. If I get a lot of random questions, I'll make a video on it specifically. So, if you got crazy hypotheticals, I might make a crazy hypothetical video on it. So, yeah, yeah. You hit the like the video, the thumbs up, like button, subscribe, and come on back. See you next time. Peace. Need to get some sleep. Later, guys.